Have you ever asked yourself this question to know why Africa continent it has been used as an illegal dumping site for the West? Nope. I doubt you have not done that. Have you also asked yourself this question to know why Africa is being used as a battlefield where the West they are coming to practice their military exercise by creating a lot of conflicts among Africans so that Africans can get to fight using the same weapons that this Western they have invented in order for them to kill one another? No, I don't think so. Have you perhaps also asked yourself a question to know why the history of Africa it is not be taught in the school in the Western countries? I doubt also that never come to your mind. Do you know why? Because their purpose is to make sure that they have to delete all the Africa history in order for their new generation to not know what they have done to Africans. Instead, what do they teach their children is to tell them that Africa it is a bush place and everyone who live in Africa they are monkeys. Africa it is a place where you find wild animals, and no one have the courage to teach these children that everything that we get to invent here, all the minerals are coming from Africa continent. In this video, we're going to have heart-to-heart conversation. We're going to speak the truth because the truth will set us free. America sees Africa continent as a problem. That is the reason why you see the treatment is very, very different. Look at here. These are the refugees in the east of Republic Democratic of Congo. They are busy running from the war, right? And when all this is happening, it is happening under their eyes when they can get to hear and see everything because they are the one who've been busy monitoring all this from far. Guys, we are talking about a war which has been there for more than 25 years ago. And these fellow Africans, they never had that kind of hospitality they deserve to have. The longer the war gets to last in Africa continent, better for them to continue looting Africa. But here is another example. This is Ukrainian refugees who are trying to flee the country. Look at well their conditions. Look them well. Then compare them to the one of the DRC or any other African countries. See how they are being treated by the Western. See the kind of the hospitality they are receiving from the Western. They even open borders for them without asking much questions. Or should I say without even abandoning them in the oceans. But when it comes to African immigrants who are trying to enter also their country in the same way, the treatment is totally different. African immigrants are dying each and every day in the oceans, all because no one don't want to welcome them in their countries. Forgetting that these African immigrants, they are running their countries because of what these same people have caused in their countries. Now look at here. If you take these two refugees, the one of Ukraine and the one from Africa, put them together, which one do you think need the help the most than other? Here you have two images, and these two images represent refugees. So which one do you think need the help the most? Why they can't receive the same hospitalities from the person who's trying to help them? That is where's the problem. That is where we need to focus even the most to understand why Africans are receiving a different treatment from the rest of the world. Why Africans are being looked down in such bad ways. Is it that the Africans they are the one who deserve to get this kind of treatment from the rest of the world? Now you'll ask yourself a question to know, where am I going with all this? Fine, let me put it in this way, guys. There is a conflict which is ongoing between Russia and Ukraine, right? And you all saw how NATO, they are investing a lot of money in this conflict in order for Ukraine to defeat Russia. Though they know that it's not easy, but yet they put everything necessary in order for them to defeat Russia. These people, they even broke the international laws. They broke the United Nations charters so that they can get to achieve their mission. Here's one example. According to the IMF, International Money Funds, they are not allowed to borrow or to loan any amount of money to a country which is in conflict or war, right? And this has been going for so many years. We're talking about so many decades. Until when Russia had started his military operation in Ukraine. With the pressure from US and NATO countries, the IMF ended up approving a loan of 150 billion US dollar to Ukraine. And guess what they said? They wear it the suit of rebuilding of Ukraine, saying that this money will help Ukraine government to rebuild everything that Russia had destroyed in Ukraine. Forgetting that it is not part of their rules, it is not part of their international laws, whereby a country which is in conflict had to be given money. Because one of the reasons why they even decided to say that no country should not be given money during their conflict or a war, it is because they don't want you to have money. Because once you have money, you start buying even more guns. Instead of you trying to bring peace, you'll enjoy fighting. And you'll be fighting because you are financially stable. You'll be able to buy all the guns and bombs that you want to use in order for you to win the fight. And that is exactly what we are seeing right now in Ukraine. Regardless of all the good intentions that African countries that are trying to manifest in order to bring peace between Russia and Ukraine, that is not the case. Because in their agenda, they have not decided to give up, especially now that they have expended a lot of money on this conflict. 150 billion US dollar, that came only from IFM. What about US with NATO? US on its own, they had already spent more than 170 billion US dollar. That is excluding 24 billion US dollar that the NATO countries had also contributed to the Ukraine conflict with Russia. And whenever they're doing all this, they have only one language, saying that we are trying to protect the sovereignty of Ukraine, because Ukraine people need to fight for their sovereignty. Now here I have to ask myself a very simple question. What kind of sovereignty that you want to protect by not respecting other people's sovereignties? Because we're talking about the same people who went even far to go on to invite all Russia's neighboring countries to join NATO.
Today, NATO leaders took the historic decision to invite Finland and Sweden to become members of NATO.
Countries are poised to add 2 more. The move will more than double the length of NATO's border with Russia.
And I'm pleased to announce that we now have an agreement.
Sweden and Finland applied for NATO membership last month. Putin's decision to invade one neighbor had them worried he might be willing to attack another.
After 200 years of military non-alignment, Sweden has chosen a new path.
President Biden helped to broker the deal. Russia's attempts to rattle the West have instead led to a larger Western alliance that is better funded and surging troops to the Russian border.
Putin was looking for the Finlandization of Europe. You're going to get the NATOization of Europe.
Roughly 8 million Ukrainians have now been displaced by the bombing. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden visited a refugee center outside Madrid yesterday, fulfilling a promise she says she made to Ukraine's First Lady when they met last month.
I told her, that I would carry forth her message, that we supported her.
All this, they are doing it to neutralize Russia. Okay, that's not even our business. But my point here is all the kind of the hospitality that people of Ukraine they are receiving so far, which seems to be more different from other countries around the world, especially in Africa continent. They have managed to do all this within 1 year only. They managed to put sanctions on Russia. They managed to freeze and close all Russia reserve banks. They managed to break the international rules when it comes to the IMF. USA with its alliance, they are even busy supplying weapons so that Ukraine will come out of this conflict as a winner. All right, let us now take an example of DRC, which is only one of the conflict countries in Africa where this West, they've been committing serious crimes that they never even want to come and apologize to Africans. People are dying in the eastern of Congo and no one gets to talk about it. People need the good hospitalities as the one of the Ukrainian people. No one is giving it to them. The government of the Republic Democratic of Congo need serious support, whether it is military, whether it is weapons, in order for them to fight the enemy and chase them out of their country. No one is willing to give them that kind of the support as we get to see with people of Ukraine. We are talking about a war which have lasted for more than 25 good years, that women and children are being killed in a very bad way. Yet, All these world organizations, starting with the US, they never come even once try to show this kind of love and solidarity as they are showing in Ukraine. In Ukraine, in less than 2 years, they managed to do all this.
Millions of people were forced to flee their homes in search of safety, setting off the largest refugee emergency in Europe since World War II. In the first 6 weeks of the conflict alone, a quarter of Ukraine's population were forced to flee their homes, finding safety in other regions of Ukraine or crossing borders into neighboring countries. Families already struggling to secure shelter, food, and clothes are also cut off from heating and electricity. The UN Refugee Agency has been delivering essential aid in Ukraine since 1994 and has continued to support humanitarian efforts throughout the country.
Anna Zhuravskaya and her 8-year-old daughter Anastasia found a room for a few months. Now they had to come back. They say the dormitory almost feels like home. Anna fled with her 2 children from Odessa back in March.
I was so scared when people in Ukraine said, "You need to leave, save your children." I was so scared to go to a foreign country where I don't know the language, the people, the mentality. But here we've been treated so warmly.
The volunteers here have been so dedicated to helping the Ukrainian refugees that the church has employed some of them to sort through donations and groceries and help translate. And the volunteers expect a tough winter.
We have space for 80 people here, or for 100 in case of a crisis. I think we're ready. We will give our all to help these people and take them in. Definitely.
Now go and make your own research and try to find out how many times they have tried to help the government of Congo, or they have tried to help all these refugees or victims that they've been running away day and night without even having a proper place to sleep. Look at these women, look at these children, look at them very well. These are people who are homeless. They don't even know what they are going to eat, because once you are being homeless in this kind of conditions, you're never even going to be able to have a time to look for something to eat, or a time even to cook, even if you have food. Look at them very well.
This is a familiar sight in North Kivu. People in Sake, west of Goma, are fleeing again from their homes. They carry what they can. They say M23 rebels are getting closer to the town. They've already taken several village centers and important towns that are rich in minerals. Janine Kiguma and her family have left their home on the outskirts of Sake. They say they are heading to a camp for displaced people.
We came to Sake from my village to see if Sake was safe, but all I could hear were gunshots. Now I'm heading to Goma. We're tired of running.
Congolese soldiers are doing what they can to protect the areas, but they have often been forced to retreat as the rebels advance.
And this is not the case with people of Ukraine. Okay, fine, let us put DRC aside because we're not going to finish everything here. But what about Sudan? Guys, do you know what is happening in Sudan? People are dying there. We are about to experience another civil war in Sudan. And all the energy that we are seeing in the Russia and the Ukraine conflict, that the same energy that we're supposed to be seeing. Instead, what is happening? They are all focused on one side. Do you know why? Now pay attention. This is where now I want to tell you something. They are doing all this because they are trying to protect their own interest. They are trying to protect their own benefit. They have to see which side they are benefiting the most. In Africa continent, every time there is a conflict and war among Africans, it's better for them because it actually facilitates them to loot Africa as much they want. It makes things for them to succeed with their mission in Africa. That is the reason why you will see them coming in Africa, imposing Africans with a puppet presidents, because they want someone who will be obeying to their orders, whereby they will have even the right to choose who can take the government tender. That is what is happening. We've been seeing it in our previous video. We spoke about it, how France get to dominate some of the African countries all over Africa in order for them to be able to give the tender to the people of their choice. Go and take countries such as Burkina Faso, Senegal, Gabon, Chad, Ivory Coast, Togo. There are so many of them, I can't mention all their names here. But you'll be surprised if I tell you that in these countries there's something that the Open Eye Master have put there. Or should I say, the Open Eye Master had imposed it to them. whereby you find someone sitting somewhere in France, but yet they're the one who are receiving the tender from other African countries in Africa continent, and yet no one have the right to complain. So you find that Africans who are supposed to be having those tenders, they become kind of like a slave in 21st centuries. In your own country, you have to go and work for someone when you are the one who have the right to have that contract, and you can either work with someone as a partners, or either you can employ them, but someone, just because they have some power somewhere there, they had to make life miserable for you not to get the tender in your country. So this is what they've been doing for so many years. This is how they've been trying to impose their leadership on Africans, to make sure that the peace never reigns in Africa continent, so that them they will be able to keep on looting Africa in the way that pleases them. Now when they feel like someone is about to take control of them, that is when you see them in Ukraine trying to show all those compensations, trying to help people of Ukraine, trying to do all these things as I just explained to you, all because they want to protect their so-called personalities, all because they don't want Russia to be above them, all because they want to remain in control of everything. Now forgetting about other humans who deserve to be treated in the same way. With all this being said, guys, you'll understand why I keep on reminding you time to time that Africans with Africa continent, we are on our own, guys. If we don't wake up now, guys, trust me, it is gonna be too late for us to make this Africa continent as a beautiful place to live. These two examples of these two countries that I show you, it is something that should at least revolt you in your mind and bring you that spirit of you trying to understand that this is the time more than ever. Africans need to remain focused. Yes, you heard me correctly. Africans, we need to remain focused now more than ever, because the time it has arrived. The time that we need to make these people understand that things are no longer the same. Things are different. This is a new generation. This is a new spirit. Things have to be done in a different ways. And we have also to have the last word to say about our minerals, about what is happening in our countries, about what is happening in our politics, about what is happening in the world as well. We need to give our opinions, and the world needs to listen to it, because after all, we are all human. So take this message, pass it out there to everyone around the world, all our brothers and sisters who are around the world. You need to pass this message to them and tell them that the time is now more than ever, and we need to assume our responsibility in order for us to do things in a very different way. Thank you so much for listening to this beautiful message that I had prepared to share with you, so that we can both be in the same page to try to understand that we are our own leaders and we need to do things accordingly in the way that we're supposed to be doing it long time ago, by the way. Please do me a favor before you leave. Don't leave without giving me your thumbs up. I will really do appreciate it, because this will help us to reach even a big audience out there, in order for them also to understand what is happening around the world, especially in Africa continent. But if this is your first time to watch our videos, we welcome you to this big family, because here we educate about life, we talk about Africa matters, we talk about Africans in general, we talk on how Africans can get to liberate themselves, because we are our own liberators, and there is no one out there who can liberate Africa if it is not me and you. So please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, so that you don't miss any of our videos whenever we upload one. It was indeed a pleasure to have all of you here. Thank you so much for watching this video up to now. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.